Hello everybody, Ray Garner with Garner's Games here. Doing my weekly comic review, and this week, the all-new Venom, #1. Now I'm going to have a little bit of a unique perspective on this one because, I'll be honest with you, not the world's biggest Venom fan. And because of everything going on with the Absolute Power and Absolute Universe, and trying to get caught back up on the X-Men, which I'd gotten behind on, I read next to nothing on the Venom War. I read a couple issues of Venom War, and I read Venomous, so I don't know a lot of the setup. But this book is brought to us by Ewing and Carlos Gomez. And luckily, for those of us who aren't caught up to these, we have a nice little paragraph telling us what's going on, which is very useful. So this issue starts with the Madam on trial. I have to admit, the prosecution goes into this big rant and rave, and I actually lost track of what she's on trial for. I believe it's for her actions in gang war. But he's bringing up the symbiotes and everything else. Now, as we're going through here, each character that's introduced has a subject. Subject number 1. And a little bit later, we have Luke Cage. He's subject number 2. Robbie Robinson, editor-in-chief of the Daily Bugle, subject number 3. Then Rick Jones, which I do like his names. Rick Jones, former juvenile delinquent, sidekick to the stars. Subject number 4. As the trial's going on, a gentleman's put on the stand, and using his glasses, he's able to translocate his signal, and a bunch of, I'm going to say probably AIM mech suit guys start showing up, teleporting in. As there's a fight breaks out, and Luke Cage gets knocked out of the building, Robbie and Rick head into the hallway to get away from things so they don't get killed. Madam disappears through a hole in the floor. And about that time, the new Venom. Being a Dragon Ball fan, I just want to call him Venom Gold. Anyway, they notate that his current host is unknown. Gets in a fight. The guy was on the stand. He says he's observed every single Venom host's fighting style, so he can identify them just off their body language. And he makes a big point that who's ever in this symbiote has never held one before, or at least he's never witnessed one. And he did point out that he did miss some of the Venom War. The only thing I do know for sure is that this host does know judo, because that's made apparent in the fight. I do have to say, I kind of like the artwork. You know, I'm not a huge Venom fan. I like the fact that his tongue's just constantly hanging out. I think that's kind of neat. And after the new Venom swings off, Robbie, Rick, and Luke all show back up. And Robbie wants to talk to them all out in the hallway. And they make a point that none of them have an alibi to explain or to make sure that none of them are a symbiote. Which I like the silence there at the very end. And they're all staring at each other. And Rick just says, "Colonel Mustard in the study with the candlestick." Which Luke's response was, "Shut up, Rick." So I like the caricature build from the writer of this book so far. Then we have an epilogue with Mary Jane and Paul. And they found out they've basically taken in another stray. And he's in the bedroom, or not bedroom, living room. And the two of them are apparently not getting along real well at the moment because of what happened during the Venom War, which unfortunately I'm not up to speed on. And we found out that Dylan is their stray dog that they have taken in. And he's obsessed with figuring out who has the symbiote, as he refers to it as his symbiote. And he's not going to stop until he gets it back. And that's the end of issue 1. Said the art is very crisp. The story really leads you to wonder who is the new symbiote host. It also shows that there's a lot of fallout from the Venom War because people are not happy with all the things that happened in the Venom War. Kind of makes me wish I'd known it gone, but apparently New York is more likely to trust the gang war people than they are the symbiote war people. So that's very cool. The coloring's also done really nicely. I didn't look to see who did the coloring. Frank Darmada, I think that's how it's pronounced. Did a good job with the coloring. So, if you've never read Venom before, especially if you haven't read him religiously, I think this is a great jumping on point. It's a new host, it's a new direction, it's a new story arc. It ties into the old story arcs, which you could probably do a Wikipedia search on to find out what's going on, or you can go back and get, the 5 issues of the main story. Probably don't have to have every single issue of the various Venom Wars that took place, because there was roughly, just off the top of my head, guessing around 20, 25 total issues for everything Venom War. Maybe a little more than that. So it's quite good. I like the direction they're going in. So please check it out. And tell us what you think. See you at my next video. Enough said.